I'm very curious as to your take on this. Moses Castillo joining me, private investigator with the Dordulian Law Group, former supervisor detective with the LAPD. Mr. Castillo, thank you for being with us. It sounds like a textbook case. A textbook case. The boy lives, breathes, and eats soccer. When he's not in school, he's at the soccer fields. And he is approached by this youth soccer coach. And now he's dead, Moses.
Yes, horrible. Thank you for having me, Nancy. First of all, I want to tell you that these groomers are great at what they do. Not only do they earn the trust of the victims that they're targeting, but they also gain the trust of their parents, their family, to the point where they let them get on the train and travel all the way 2 hours to where he lives and spend the night. Unbelievable that this even happened. But that's the reality. That these groomers are so good that they can convince a family to do just that.
Another thing, Moses Castillo, they dangle in front of the children and the family that the child has amazing soccer skills or amazing fill in the blank skills, tennis skills, football skills, basketball skills, and that they could get a college scholarship maybe, or maybe even play pro. And for a lot of children, I mean, it would have been a huge carrot if my family, when we were growing up, nobody had ever been to college in our family. If they thought, wow, she's so good at blank, we can get her in college for free. She can get tuition and a college education. I mean, that's the kind of lure that makes parents believe these coaches.
Absolutely. They tell me Johnny's a great player. He's going to be a star, and so on and so forth. But I got to tell you, sources closer to the investigation have told me that this was a self-proclaimed coach. He wasn't certified. He wasn't registered with any league as a coach whatsoever. And when the authorities searched his residence, they did find player ID cards. They found registration forms, applications, which tells me that some league gave him access to these children, and they should never have done that.
Oh my stars. How did he do it? You're telling me that adults believed his scam and let him have access to these children? I mean, we know that he approached the little boy, Oscar, and said, wow, you're amazing, and offered him private soccer lessons, coaching for free. That doesn't happen. My son is a soccer player, and he gets goalie lessons, but through the school. The school has a goalie coach that is helping the goalies. This guy just walks out onto a soccer field, approaches a little boy, and says, hey, you're awesome. I'm going to give you soccer coaching for free.
Unheard
That's
of. That's
what
not.
happened, Moses.
That is crazy. That's bizarre. That it went unchecked and nobody stepped in and said, "Hey, show me your credentials, or you're not certified." Parents need to be more vigilant and confirm these things. Are you going to be the coach? Show me your credentials. Show me that you've been certified, that you've been live scanned, that you went through a background check, that you've been through the training. All that was missed.
Moses Castillo, my son played with a similar league, all right, and they don't travel far, but they do travel, say, an hour, 2 hours max to play basketball. So it's not really affiliated with a school like you were saying, but it's a travel league. And I find that really interesting because this coach would then have access to these boys, many of them very young and very small, away from the parents, Moses.
Yes, his MO was very specific and targeted. He would like to get these kids alcohol, get them drunk, have them over, sleepovers, that kind of thing. And some of them would wake up the next morning feeling like something went wrong, something happened to them, but they were just too afraid, too ashamed to speak up. But this went on for a long time.
And they may not have really understood what went wrong. I mean, they wake up and their clothes may be misadjusted or they might feel queasy, but they don't really know what happened. It's a nightmare scenario, especially for a little boy like this who has just turned 13. Moses Castillo joining me, private investigator with the Dordelian Law Group. Moses, have you seen the image of the Whitsett Park facility? It's huge.
Absolutely. That's why these predators, they seek these positions because that's a high victim target rich environment. And that's exactly it. And I got to tell you, playing on those fields costs money. You have to get permits, you have to pay for that. And he did this unchecked for years.
You know, we were talking earlier, and I believe it was you, Moses Castillo, and I understand why you said it, that why didn't the parents check this guy out? Why didn't they ask for a background check, where he was certified? Well, I don't know if you're going to remember the name Jerry Sandusky that was ultimately accused of, oh, I don't even know how many molestations. Listen.
I was kind of thinking that he was going to get off scot-free with this, and then I'm just going to be another kid in the front page of the newspaper that has a big liar stamped across his forehead.
Their child.
Moses Castillo, I think my head's going to blow off. That originally was from our friends at NBC LA. Now, you hear debate. I don't know what dog he's got in the fight with skin in the game, because normally he is on LA law enforcement like a cheap suit. But today, when it works in the defense's favor, it's like, oh, it was just a mistake. Oh. Did you hear the first boy? Well, probably not the first. The one of the prior molestation victims. I go to sleep. I see him trying to pull down my shorts. I woke up. I punched him, and he told me it was a joke.
Absolutely. As a sex crime detective, I was for 20 years with the LAPD. This breaks my heart. We did drop the ball on this poor victim. The case was submitted to the DA's office electronically, and it sat in their queue untouched for months. That's what sources familiar with the investigation have told me. And when the investigators called the DA's office to follow up, they realized that nobody had looked at this case for a long time. And that's where we dropped the ball.
Oh, you know what? I don't like what you just said, Castillo. Drop the ball. That's like, oops, I dropped the ball. This is abandoned and malignant heart. Drop the ball. Moses Castillo, isn't it true that statistically, when a child molester is caught once, that there are dozens of prior undetected child molestations?
Absolutely. That's why the message here today is, if you're out there and you're a victim of this evil monster, please come forward. It was never your fault. And I want you to know that 100%. And you have the support of the victim services that are going to be coming for you and available to you.